Those were the days, right? When
Yeah.
5 guys could get together in a guy's house and design a car in a month.
Yeah,
That's exactly what happened.
I was just at Ford, and they were talking about how they design cars now, and they have these virtual studios where they have people on 5 different continents talking about how to design a car. And now you have 5 guys over a cup of coffee.
5 guys over a cup of coffee. In the course of a month, kind of Little Skunk Works came out with this design.
Now, ever since I was a kid, I've been in love with this car because it just looks so modern and futuristic. First of all, you're telling me that this was your dad's car, so you've had it for how long?
Well,
in your family?
Well, he bought it new.
Yeah?
This was the second Avanti on the road in South Dakota.
Really?
It's an early one. Studebaker made about 4,600 of them, and this is number 439. And so I think he bought it in the late fall of 1963.
So it's a 63 model.
It's a 63 model.
And why do you think your dad bought it, or have you asked him about that? Was he a Studebaker fan?
He was a Studebaker fan. He came from a Studebaker family. His father had one or more. My father had a Hawk. He bought a Lark new in 1962. I remember a Studebaker station wagon when I was 5 years old, which we drove down to Florida. And so when this came out, he just absolutely had to have one.
I mean, what makes it so unique, obviously, is the styling, right? It looks like something out of Europe.
Well, it was designed by a guy by the name of Raymond Loewy. Loewy was a very well-known industrial designer. Designed everything from locomotives to Coca-Cola boxes, and if you saw his things, you would recognize his designs.
And has it been reliable?
No.
I was expecting yes.
No. It's pretty reliable now. I've put a ton of work into it. I have a great mechanic, and he had it for 4 months last year.
Oh, gee.
And
that's not reliable.
Well, the car mostly sat for 20 years in my father's garage when I got my hands on it.
Yeah.
And so the transmission was leaking, the head gasket was leaking, there are all kinds of other things, and it's pretty reliable now. I've got just a little bit more to do on it, and I'd take it across country without worrying too much.
Is this the original paint color, white?
Yeah.
Yeah? So is this the original paint, or have you had it redone?
It's been repainted a couple times down through the years, simply because of chips on the leading edge and so forth. But this car is unrestored. It's just been kept repaired. So
A driver, obviously.
Well, it was an everyday driver for him for about 7 years, and
Yeah.
he drove it hard.
How many miles on it now?
128,000.
Yeah, that's not
But
bad.
in the first 7 years, he was an orthodontist, and he had satellite offices all around the place. And he used to drive this out to those offices, and he's still proud of saying that he would make it to Pierre, South Dakota in 2 hours. That's 200 miles.
Yeah.
And he did that
100 miles an hour.
over and over again down through the years. If he ever got caught, I'm not aware of it. Those were the days, right? Straight empty roads.
And you know what the value is now? You know what these are going for?
It's probably only about $20,000.
Yeah.
Studebakers are fairly rare, but there isn't that much demand for them either. We Studebaker aficionados tend to be the lunatic fringe
of the car world,
and
so fun car companies,
and so It's not a tremendously valuable car commercially, but of course the sentimental value is.
You know, I was standing next to it, and you can't get this in the video, but I love that smell. I mean, there's that old car smell of
That old car
gasoline
smell.
and leather and rubber. You know, there's just something about that.
You sit in. I have to keep the windows cracked because the gasolines today are so volatile
Yeah.
that when you park the car, the gas just pours out of the carburetor, and if you don't keep the windows cracked, it gets smells of gas in there. But when it's well ventilated, you get in and you get that smell, and it's just, oh boy,
It's a time machine, isn't it?
It's a time machine.
Yeah, you're going back to your childhood. All right, last question. What's your favorite part of the car? I mean, if you had to pick something, is it the styling? Is it the ride, the drive? What's your kind of...
The styling and the ride,
Yeah.
both. I mean, when you look at the styling, it's just subtle things. For example, when you look at the cutout
Yeah.
of this, look at it carefully, and it's slanted backwards.
Oh, yeah, I can see that now.
And so it looks as though the car's moving.
Even when it's standing still.
Even when it's standing still.
yeah.
You know, and it took me 50 years to notice that. And one day I went, hey, that's not symmetrical.